Hey guys, last week we were talking about angles and various types of angles and how to find sums of interior angles and missing angles. I wanted to take today to go through and just review some of the different things we talked about, and then you're going to have a practice on it afterwards. Hopefully, if you have questions, they'll get answered through this, and if not, please reach out. So the things this video is going to talk about is finding the sum of the interior angles, which we found a formula related to that, and that is 180 times the number of sides minus 2. We also talked a little bit about finding the sum of the interior angles, measure of one angle. We didn't talk too much about that, so we're going to review that and just go through it. You know most of what you need to know leading into that. We're going to talk about exterior angles and how an exterior angle and an interior angle relate to each other. We're going to find missing angles, and then we're going to put everything together. So, first thing we're going to talk about is finding the sum of the interior angles. So, just to refresh your memory, we are using this formula here where n is the number of sides. So if we go through on this shape and count up the total number of sides, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means we're going to put 5 in place of that n. So we've got 180 times 5 minus 2. 5 minus 2 is 3, so 180 times 3 gives me 540 degrees. So the sum of the interior angles of this shape is 540 degrees. Okay, one vocabulary word we haven't really talked about is a regular shape. And all a regular shape means is all the sides and angles are equal. You still find the sum of the interior angles the same. So you still count up the sides. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides, and all 5 sides and angles are equal to each other. So to find the sum of the interior angles, we're going to do 180 times 5 minus 2. So 180 times 3, which in the last example we found out was 540 degrees. So now if I know there's 5 angles and all angles are equal to each other, to figure out what one of those angles is going to be equal to, we are just going to take the sum, so 540, and we're going to divide it by the number of angles there are, which in this case is 5. So 540 divided by 5 is going to give me 108 degrees. So one angle in this regular pentagon is 108 degrees. That's going to bring us to interior and exterior angles. To kind of save time, I used the same shape we just did. So I know, because I just figured this out, that the one interior angle of a regular pentagon is 108 degrees. So now I'm asking you, what is the measure of this exterior angle, which is the outside angle? So if I want to find that exterior angle, we're going to focus on the fact that these two angles are supplementary. Meaning, if we're looking at both these angles put together, they end up forming a straight line, and a straight angle is adding up to 180 degrees. So if we know both those angles put together should equal 180, we're looking for what number do I add to 108 to get to 180 degrees. So going back to some algebra, we're going to subtract 108 from both sides. So 180 minus 108 is going to equal 72 degrees. So my exterior angle in this example is 72 degrees. To find a missing angle of something that is not a regular polygon, we need to figure out the sum of the interior angles. So counting up the sides, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So to find the sum of the interior angles, we're going to take 180 times 6 minus 2. So 180 times 4 is going to equal 720. So now we know 5 of the 6 angles. We're looking for the x, which is circled on here. So what we're going to do is we need to take off the other 5 angles that we know, and that's going to tell me what's left. So I'm going to take 720, and I'm going to take off all 5 of those angles. So if we take our calculators and subtract those all off, we've got 720 minus 111 minus 147 minus 150 minus 93 minus 95. That leaves me with 124 degrees. So my missing angle in this case is 124 degrees. So when we add all of those together, it should end up equaling 720. Based on all of that, now if we were given something that looks sort of like this, where it's going to look kind of like a complicated picture, and you're going to be given a couple angles. So let's just say this angle down here is 70. Maybe this one is 120. And this one here is, I don't know, like 100. Let's say this one's 120 as well. If we're trying to find all of the other angles that you see in this picture, we're going to use a couple things that we've talked about in previous problems. So first thing that we're going to refresh our memories on is what a vertical angle is. So if you look at the upper screen here, a vertical angle just means the two angles that are directly across from each other are congruent. So if I know that this angle here is 120, that means this one is 120. Same thing here, if this one's 120, this one's also 120. If I have 70 here, 70 is going to go here. All right, so I have kind of filled in the easy stuff. The other thing I want you guys to take note of is the fact that we've got some supplementary angles here. Meaning if I were to take this angle here, it makes a straight line with this angle here. So straight angles equal 180 degrees. So if I take 180 minus 70, that's going to give me this angle here. 180 minus 70 is 110. If this is 110, this one is also 110. All right, same thing here. If I know that this one is 120, and I've got a straight angle here to find this corner angle, we're going to take 180 minus 120, which gives me 60 degrees. This is 60. This one's also 60. And we just did that, so we've got 60 here and 60 here. If I want to figure out what this top angle is right here, if I'm looking at this shape, I've got a triangle. Triangles have 3 sides, so I've got 180 times 3 minus 2 if I want to find the sum of those interior angles. So we've got 180 times 1, which is 180. So if I know 60 plus 60 is 120, to find that missing angle, we're going to subtract those off. So this top angle here is 60, which means this one's also 60. We've got 120 and 120. Finally, just to kind of refresh our memories here, if I were to outline this entire middle, I've got a shape that has 4 sides. So a 4-sided shape, we've got 180 times 4 minus 2. So 180 times 2 is 360. I'm going to take off the 3 angles we know. So 360 minus 120 minus 120 minus 70. So 360 minus 120 minus 120 minus 70 gives me 50. 50 is this bottom corner, which means vertical angles, this is 50. And then when I do 180 minus 50, I get 130 and 130. This is a challenging problem. On your homework, I want you to give it your best shot, kind of work through it. You're never going to use anything other than angles that are smaller than 360, but give it your best shot. All right, good luck. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a good day.